Hey, oozes and bunnies. This is a preview of the most recent Party Planning, an extra podcast that the Join the Party crew makes for our Patreon. If you want to listen to the whole thing, go to patreon.com/jointhepartypod. Check out this preview.
Thank you, lady.
Thank you, Zoom lady.
Julia, I see that in every meeting I'm in now. And I just have to say to other people, this is a thing that we do and a thing that you should do in regards to the Zoom lady.
We did fully do that when we had a guest on Spirits the other day and said, thank you, lady. And they said, oh, you're welcome. And I'm just like, nope, that's not what we meant. But we're going to ignore that because we messed up.
Yeah, it was, we got through it, It was okay.
We did.
But Julia, we're here today on Party Planning to talk a bit about hometown urban legends. And no, you did not tune into the wrong podcast Patreon feed. We're going to be talking about how to make hometown urban legends a part of your D&D or RPG campaign.
That's true. That is true.
So excited.
So my thing is, hey, your hometown is probably interesting in a way that you can apply to a tabletop RPG setting, whether you're playing Monster of the Week, whether you're playing D&D, etc., etc. I'm sure that there are levels of things that will allow you, if you just like expand upon them or make them larger than life, will be like a fun setting, like piece or like a plot point for your adventure to come through, especially if you're playing with people who are like from your hometown. That could be very enjoyable. So Amanda and I are going to do a couple of plot points or set pieces that are going to be from Long Island so that you guys can see how easy it is to like incorporate it into your D&D.
Exactly. I guess it's because we've been streaming so often on GTV Side Quests, of course, as you should know, live every Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern, where we make up exactly this kind of stuff. But I was thinking recently about my like summer childhood rituals and memories. And then the first thought that would come to mind was, oh yeah, that would be a really good RPG, plot point or inciting action or set. One of which, Julia, is the block party, which I think is just such a potential source of conflict and mystery. Did you go to any block parties growing up?
My block did not do block parties. Jake's block was big on block parties, though. Like they would have one every year. Like Jake lived on like kind of like a cul-de-sac turn of a, like he was very like interior somewhere, wasn't on a major like cut through a road. So he had the perfect block for a block party because they just had to like cut off 2 sections and then they had like 3 roads that they could block party on, and it was ideal. So you were also in like a similar style neighborhood where it was very easy to cut off through traffic.
Yeah, our block was kind of like a little island, hugged Pac-Man by 2 bigger blocks. Mm-hmm. And so whenever there were block parties, whatever side of my block it was on, it was very easy, just like you're saying, to shut off just 2 little tiny streets to make the whole block available. Yeah. And as a kid, I don't know why, but my parents always treated it with such kind of potential danger, maybe because, curfew was more relaxed because kids would be like running in and out of each other's houses, all day long. Kids would always do manhunt at night, which I'm to this day not really clear on the rules because I was never allowed to participate.
It's hide and seek in the dark, Amanda.
Oh, okay, that's all right, good. I was
like, you're not missing out much.
The name is so, is so evocative. But I was thinking that a block party, whether I'm doing kind of like a Desperate Housewives style, like, dramedy or an RPG campaign, it's just such like a mixing of homes and the interior is made exterior and, people who don't normally cross paths are all together. And it is just such a good idea. Like that's the kind of cover where like, I can imagine a sort of Harriet the Spy style RPG where you're like a neighborhood sleuth trying to find out the problems of the adults. Very Monster of the Week campaign. Mm-hmm. And the block party is kind of like the time where you get to do investigations. Or maybe it's when, the borders between worlds are a little thinner and, so the supernatural comes out at night.
You could definitely do like a summer solstice block party thing in a Monster of the Week campaign where like it's almost like Halloween, you know, where the like you said, the like veil between worlds is thinnest or something like that. That could be very, very fun. This also seems like a great like kids on bikes event, which is also a Powered by the Apocalypse tabletop RPG, which is designed to be like you are young kids riding around your neighborhood on bikes trying to like solve problems or solve crimes. I feel like a lot of what we're going to be talking about today would be great kids on bikes style stuff.
Yeah, I've never played a game of Kids on Bikes, though I do own a puzzle of the cover of Kids on Bikes, which is was very challenging because it's all kind of one color. So just a shout out to that. But can you remind us, Julia, about like what are the aims? Like what are the kinds of problems that you're trying to solve in that game?
You know what? That's a great question. Let me pull up the manual and then we can do that. Kids on Bikes. Yes.
Kids on Bikes. Kids on Bikes.
So it is a collaborative. It says choose your own destiny in this this storytelling rules like tabletop RPG where adventure is a bike ride away. It is a collaborative world building RPG set in small towns with big mysteries. So basically where players can take on the roles of small town heroes facing big adventures. Players can even incorporate a community controlled powered character in the game. So
hell yeah.
I think it's very much kind of like, not to make it sound like Riverdale, but it does feel like very like Riverdale before they started adding like weird magic and timeline and multiverse stuff. But like, hey, there's a mystery that needs to be solved. Very Encyclopedia Brown, very like all those like teen mysteries.
Yeah, I was recently listening to an old episode of Review Crew, the Hey Riddle Riddle Patreon, where they reviewed a Mary Kate and Ashley mystery. And
I also recently listened to that, Amanda.
Well,
yeah.
Same brain. I love that so much. I also knew every word to the theme song, despite only owning like 2 or 3 of those DVDs, please, VHSs.
Who stole the Blue Hope Diamond?
What killed the dinosaurs? Indeed.
Yeah.
And I forgot that everything was a bike ride away, and they'd always be home for dinner. That they would like bike ride to Antarctica, and it's like
bike ride to a volcano. I'm like, where do you live?
Yeah, that's not allowed. But Julia, I think these are 2 really good directions for the block party set piece, and this is often how at least I approach building a session or an RPG, or certainly on side quests, which is like a thing that I know for sure I'm really interested in. And then let's like choose the system, build the, the conflict, the big bad potentially. And so I can imagine a version of this that really plays into the like mundane secrets of adults of like, who stole someone's, lawnmower, like, who is walking around toilet papering the adults' houses. Like there's a permeability to the block party, like I was saying earlier, that I think is good for solving kind of banal mysteries.
That was great. My favorite part was the accent work. If you like that, you gotta hear the rest of party planning by joining the Patreon at patreon.com/jointhepartypod.